Roman Reigns already has one of the most recognizable associations in modern WWE history. So what happens when another major personality suddenly says he wants that spot? That question started gaining attention after Stephen A. Smith revealed that if he ever became a heel manager in WWE, the superstar he would want to manage is Roman Reigns. And while this may sound like a fun celebrity comment at first, the idea becomes much more interesting when you look at everything Smith has been saying lately about WWE. Stephen A. Smith has spent recent weeks openly discussing the possibility of getting involved with WWE in some form. Rather than talking about becoming an in-ring performer, he is focused on the idea of being a heel personality. That distinction matters. Managing a wrestler is very different from stepping inside the ring. A manager's value comes from presence, communication skills, confidence, and the ability to attract attention whenever they appear on screen. Those qualities are exactly why people immediately connected Smith's comments to a potential WWE role. During a discussion on his podcast, Smith was asked about the heel manager concept. Instead of hesitating or choosing a random name, he immediately identified Roman Reigns as the superstar he would want to manage. That answer alone tells us a lot. Smith was not imagining a small supporting role or a brief celebrity appearance. He went directly to one of the biggest names associated with WWE. When asked whether he acknowledges Roman Reigns, Smith answered without hesitation. He said that he does acknowledge him because Roman is big time. He even added that he would not want somebody who is small time. The comment was delivered in classic Stephen A. Smith fashion, but it also revealed how he views a potential WWE appearance. If he enters that world, he wants to be attached to the highest profile spotlight possible. That approach should not surprise anyone familiar with his public personality. Throughout his media career, Smith has built a reputation around strong opinions, confidence, and commanding attention whenever he speaks. Whether fans agree with him or disagree with him, people usually react. That reaction is valuable in sports entertainment. The interesting part is that Roman Reigns is not just any WWE superstar. He is also closely connected to Paul Heyman, and Smith has already spent time discussing Heyman in previous WWE-related comments. Earlier, Smith suggested that under Paul Heyman's guidance, he could become the #1 heel in WWE. Not long after that, he took the idea even further. He claimed that he could out-heel Heyman and even dress better than him. Those comments were clearly designed to spark conversation, and they succeeded. Now, however, the conversation has shifted. Instead of simply comparing himself to Heyman, Smith is talking about managing Heyman's most famous client. That creates a completely different discussion. The reason this matters is not because anybody expects Stephen A. Smith to replace Paul Heyman tomorrow. Nothing in these comments suggests that. What makes the story interesting is the image it creates. Fans can instantly picture Smith standing beside Roman Reigns, talking on a microphone, creating controversy and drawing reactions from audiences. Whether someone loves that idea or hates it, it is easy to visualize. And in wrestling, concepts that are easy to visualize often generate the strongest conversations. Another important detail is WWE's reported interest in doing more with Smith. According to the information available, WWE has interest because of his ESPN reach and crossover appeal. That is a significant factor. WWE has always benefited from personalities who can attract attention beyond the traditional wrestling audience. When a recognizable media figure becomes involved, new viewers often become curious. Some tune in because they already follow that personality. Others tune in simply to see how the experiment unfolds. Smith brings that kind of visibility. His voice is familiar to millions of sports fans. His style is recognizable. His confidence is undeniable. Those qualities naturally create discussion whenever his name becomes connected to WWE. At the same time, there is an important difference between publicity and storytelling. Getting attention is only the first step. The real challenge is finding a role that fits naturally within WWE programming. That is where the manager concept becomes more believable than the wrestler concept. Nobody is seriously expecting Stephen A. Smith to start competing inside the ring. That is not the appeal. The appeal comes from his ability to talk. Managers succeed when they can enhance a story without needing to wrestle themselves. Smith's strengths align much more closely with that role. What makes the Roman Reigns connection particularly interesting is the standard it sets. Roman represents the highest level of WWE star power. By choosing Roman, Smith essentially revealed how he sees himself fitting into the wrestling landscape. He is not imagining a developmental role. He is not imagining a background role. He is imagining a major role. Whether fans agree with that assessment is a different debate entirely. But the ambition behind the choice is obvious. There is also another layer worth discussing. The best managers usually complement the person they represent. They bring something different to the presentation. That difference helps create a more complete package. Smith's personality is extremely vocal and expressive. Roman Reigns built much of his recent success around confidence, authority, and presence. Some fans might argue those personalities could create entertaining television together. Others might argue there would be too much competition for attention. Both viewpoints are understandable, and that uncertainty is exactly why the topic generates discussion. Whenever fans can see multiple outcomes, engagement naturally increases. One group may view Smith as a perfect celebrity addition. Another group may prefer wrestling remain focused on established WWE figures. Neither perspective is unreasonable. What matters is that people are talking about the possibility. From a business standpoint, that conversation has value. From a creative standpoint, it raises questions. How often would Smith appear? Would he be a full-time personality or a special attraction? Would he support Roman Reigns or attempt to overshadow him? Could he work alongside Paul Heyman? Or would the story require some kind of rivalry between the two talkers? The available information does not answer any of those questions. But they are the kinds of questions fans immediately start asking. That alone demonstrates why the comments attracted attention. There is also something worth noting about the way Smith framed his answer. He did not talk about loyalty to a specific storyline. He did not reference a particular championship. Instead, he focused on Roman Reigns being big time. That wording says a lot. It suggests his interest is connected to visibility, importance, and star power. He wants the biggest platform available. Roman represents exactly that. In many ways, the comments reflect how celebrity involvement often works in wrestling. Well-known personalities usually want meaningful roles. They want appearances that matter. They want moments that feel significant. Smith choosing Roman aligns perfectly with that mindset. Of course, fans should separate possibility from confirmation. At this stage, there is no announcement. There is no official role. There is no indication that a specific storyline has been planned. What we have are comments from Smith expressing interest and explaining how he views a potential WWE opportunity. That distinction is important. Sometimes wrestling discussions become so exciting that speculation starts sounding like fact. In this case, the facts are straightforward. Stephen A. Smith said he has thought about being a heel manager. When asked who he would manage, he said Roman Reigns. He acknowledged Roman and described him as big time. Everything beyond that remains a matter of possibility. Even so, possibilities can be fascinating. The reason this story continues gaining attention is because it sits at the intersection of sports media and professional wrestling. Smith is not a traditional wrestling figure. Roman Reigns is one of the industry's biggest stars. Combining those names naturally creates curiosity. Fans start imagining scenarios. Supporters picture memorable promos. Critics wonder whether it would distract from existing stories. Both reactions help keep the conversation alive. Ultimately, this story is less about what is happening today and more about what could happen in the future. Stephen A. Smith has made it clear that if he ever enters WWE as a heel manager, he wants the biggest spotlight available. He is not aiming low. He is aiming directly at Roman Reigns. Whether that idea ever moves beyond conversation remains to be seen. But the comments reveal something important. Smith understands exactly how wrestling works when it comes to attention. Big personalities create big discussions. Big discussions create interest. And right now, simply by mentioning Roman Reigns, he has succeeded in getting the wrestling world talking. So now the question shifts from what Stephen A. Smith wants to what WWE fans want. If WWE ever decided to bring Stephen A. Smith onto television as a heel manager, would Roman Reigns be the right choice, or would another superstar create a more interesting partnership?